Welcome back, friends, to Max Q Barbecue. My name is Craig Klimchek, and today we're making Polish kielbasa sausage. A family tradition in our home is to eat cabbage and black-eyed peas on New Year's Day. And our favorite recipe for cabbage is Kielbasa and Cabbage dish that our son-in-law, Ethan, brought to our family. For our kielbasa today, we're going to be starting with a 7-pound Boston pork butt, 2 pounds of 80/20 ground meat, coarse kosher salt, medium brown sugar, restaurant grind black pepper, gotta have some fresh garlic, of course our mustard seed, our coriander seed, and marjoram. And since we're going to be cold smoking today, we're going to add a little bit of Instacure 1 to protect our meat from spoilage. So let's get that grinder out and get started prepping our sausage. Okay, through the magic of video, we now have our pork butt cut up into nice square cubes. And what I'm doing now is I'm transferred a few over to this larger bowl, and we're going to start mixing our dry ingredients in just before we start grinding it. So it's just a little bit easier to mix them in by layers. So I just got a little layer down here. Put some of the sugar, brown sugar, and some of our chopped garlic. And then we just put another layer. Do the same thing and repeat. Now that we have our meat all mixed up with our dry ingredients, it's time to grind it and put it in our bowl. We have our pork ground over here, and now we're going to add our ground beef to it. Here's a helpful tip for cleaning up your grinder after you finish grinding your meat. If you take some saltine crackers and break those up and run those through the grinder, it'll help push that old meat out from the wheels and from the cutting edges. And now you see the meat has come out, and now it's just the crackers. Good way to get rid of that meat. Our final ingredient to add is our dried milk. Our dried milk is a source of protein that will act as a binder for our sausage and give it a nice smooth texture after it's packed in its casing. We sprinkle our dried milk over the ground meat, and we'll start working it in. And then we'll add water. And we're adding about 10% water to our sausage mixture to get it to a nice consistency for our packing process. We have our sausage mixture made up. We got our meat, our spices, and all of our ingredients loaded into our bowl, ground up with its milk and water. Now we're going to put it in the refrigerator and let the seasonings and flavorings settle into the mixture. And then when you come back, we'll stuff it into its casings. Well folks, it's been about an hour since we put our sausage mixture in the refrigerator to let it rest. And you can see it's rested up nice and it's cold. But before we stuff it into our casings, we want to make a little sausage patty and test it to see if it tastes okay. So I'm just going to take out a little patty of some meat here and kind of work it into a nice little breakfast-sized patty. And we're going to slide that over here onto the frying pan so we can test her out. Well, friends, it's been an hour since we've had our meat in the refrigerator. We took out and made a patty and just fried it up. So let's do a taste test to see how it tastes and see if it meets our expectations. It's good. It's not a spicy sausage, but it's good. As a result of our taste test and an overwhelming consensus that it didn't have enough kick, we're going to add 4 grams of cayenne pepper to our mix just to give it a little bit of some spice, hot spice to it. So here we go. We've added our extra cayenne pepper to our mixture, and we've stuffed our sausage stuffer with about 5 pounds of meat. Today we're going to be stuffing our sausage into these Lem smoked collagen casings. These are synthetic collagen. They're not natural hog. They're a little easier to work with than the natural hog, but for speed's sake and the fact that I want to cold smoke these, I thought these would be better casings for this recipe. Now, what's interesting about the natural collagen casings, I have a little bit of trouble getting them to tie knots. So what I'm going to do is I've cut off a piece of string here and made a little loop. So when I get the casings passed over the horn here, I'm going to tie a knot into the casing so that it can be used or keep it sealed up as we pump the meat into it. And also you'll notice that this is about 18 to 20 inches long, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie both ends of the sausage and make loops. You may notice that I have a couple of pieces of blue tape here. These blue tapes are 18 inches apart. So I want to make a loop about an 18-inch loop, and that'll be a perfect size for fitting in my 12-inch wide vacuum bags. So let's get this casing onto the horn and get started stuffing our sausage. We have our casing stuffing material on our horn and our meat in our stuffer, and now we're just slowly stuffing it, keeping a little pressure here on the casing as we fill it up until we get it to the length that we want to make. My first one I did there might be just a little bit short, so I'm going to go just a little bit longer. And that's about the proper length, so back off a quarter of a turn, twist this down. Welcome back, friends. We've got our charcoal briquettes going in the firebox. We also have our smoke stick with our pecan pellets and 1 stick of pecan in there. If you want to take a quick peek how fast the fire set up to make smoke. There it is, making plenty of smoke. Now we've got our pit set up for sausage. We have these bars hanging in here. We've got our sausage set up in loops and hanks. So we're going to go ahead and start sliding our sausage on. As you can see, we've got all our sausage hanging in our pit now on our 1/2-inch square rods that were cut to fit between the brackets that hold the shelves. We've got all the shelves out, and we got our smoke tube going. We've got our charcoal burning, just a little light smoldering fire. And that's what we're going to do for the next 8 hours. Let this sausage dry out and absorb the smoke. Welcome back, friends. It is now 4:45, 4:45. So it's been about 2 hours since we started. I wanted to check in on our sausage here. So let's take a look. Got a lot of nice smoke coming through there. and they're just hanging and absorbing that smoke. Temperature in the pit has been holding around 90 degrees, which is perfect. It's less than 100 degrees Fahrenheit, that is. And we got a good, beautiful smelling pecan smoke. So we're gonna just close that back up. We got about 7 more hours to go on the smoke. So we'll check back in another hour or two and see how it's doing. Welcome back, friends. It's 9:30 p.m. Sausage has been on about 6 hours. We're gonna flip the sausages over and rotate them on the hank so that the tips up here that have been getting all the heat and smoke will switch and get those at the bottom. It's just a simple process. Just rotate them around. Well, there you have it. Got them all flipped over. I'm going to continue to cold smoke them tonight and let them soak up more of that good old hickory smoke. Well, good morning, friends. It's 6:30 a.m. the following day. It's still probably around 32 to 34 degrees. Pit temperature has fallen. Our fire has burned out. But our sausage is ready, so let's get this sausage off and bring it in. Well, we brought our kielbasa Polish sausage inside, and now we're going to put it away in the freezer till we're ready to cook it needed. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our links and we're going to wipe them down and get all this smoke and oils off the outside so it looks nice and pretty. And then once we got it wiped down, we'll snip off our strings and knots that we used to hold it in place while we were cooking. Toss those. Then we slide it inside of one of our freezer bags and then place it inside of our vacuum sealer. Fingers there, press it down, press the button. There you have it, homemade Polish kielbasa. Friends, the kielbasa is put away and the kitchen is cleaned up, but we couldn't put it away without having to sample some and try it. So before we shot this video, we took out a pack of the kielbasa and pulled off a recipe from the internet and created a dish for today. Today's broccoli and potato and kielbasa dish. Added a few carrots and some extra vegetables to it, and it was delicious. And by the way, the blizzard arrived, and so it's snowing outside. So having a nice warm dish with the kielbasa and vegetables was just what we needed to warm up our cold fingers and toes. I hope you enjoyed today's video. We'll see you on the next one.